They thought we were harmless, fluffy, lazy, spoiled, creatures of comfort. But when the skies cracked open and the invaders descended, Earth's pets rose. They didn't just defend, they dominated. The galaxy's greatest mistake wasn't launching an invasion. It was underestimating the very beings humans called good boys and precious kitties. "Status report," Admiral Varlin bellowed, his forearms gripping the command station railing as another explosion rocked the observation deck. The massive view screen before him displayed scenes of utter chaos across Earth's surface, but not the kind of chaos he had anticipated when launching this invasion. "Sir, we've lost contact with Ground Force 7 in a location that called Minnesota," Lieutenant Nexa reported, her antennae twitching nervously. The last transmission mentioned something about good boys attacking their position. Varlin's scaled forehead furrowed. "Good boys? Explain." "We're receiving visual feed now," Admiral Pax announced, bringing up footage on the main screen. The entire bridge crew watched in stunned silence as a pack of what the humans called golden retrievers bounded through the alien formation, tails wagging furiously as they knocked over heavily armed soldiers with the enthusiasm usually reserved for fetching tennis balls. The soldiers' plasma rifles proved useless against the sheer joy and determination of the furry creatures. "What in the name of the Seven Moons is happening?" Varlin demanded, his usual military composure cracking. "Those are clearly not combat units. They appear to be smiling." "Sir, reports coming in from Paris," another officer, Commander Droll, called out. "Our forces are being overwhelmed by small furry creatures that the humans keep in their dwellings. They climb walls, knock over equipment, and show complete disregard for our sonic deterrents. The humans call them cats." The main screen split to show multiple feeds. In one, a Siamese cat casually batted expensive alien scanning equipment off a table. In another, a Maine Coon led a group of cats in what could only be described as guerrilla warfare tactics, appearing from ventilation shafts to ambush alien troops before disappearing again. But our intelligence indicated these were mere companion animals." Varlin sputtered, all four hands now nervously adjusting his collar. "They weren't supposed to have combat capabilities." "Sir," Pax interrupted, her voice shaking. "You need to see this. Sector 12, Human Designation, Florida." The screen switched to show an alien scout team backing away in terror as they faced off against a small white rabbit. "It's just sitting there." Menacingly, one soldier's voice crackled through the comm. "Don't let its cute appearance fool you." "I saw what it did to Squad 4, another voice responded in panic. Admiral Varlin slumped into his command chair, watching as his invasion force, the pride of the Galactic Armada, was being systematically dismantled by Earth's pets. A parrot had somehow learned to mimic their command frequencies and was now directing a squadron of ships into each other. A hamster had chewed through the main power cables of their largest ground base. And was that a turtle, slowly but inexorably pursuing a group of terrified soldiers? Sir Pax approached cautiously. "There's something else. We're detecting massive movements in the oceans. It seems the aquatic companions, fish, are mobilizing, and the small containers humans keep them in. They're not prisons as we assumed. They're training facilities." The Admiral's eye stalks drooped as he watched a group of guppies coordinate with a beta fish to breach their aquarium and flood an alien command post. Where had their intelligence gone so wrong? How had they missed this critical aspect of Earth's defense system? "Send the abort signal," Varlin finally ordered, his voice hollow. "All forces are to withdraw immediately, and somebody please get that corgi away from the antimatter core." As the evacuation order went out, Varlon made a mental note to strongly revise the invasion protocols. Clearly, their assumption that only humans would resist had been their downfall. He watched as a group of parakeets conducted aerial maneuvers that would make their best pilots jealous, while a gerbil in an exercise ball rolled through their formations with devastating effect. The next time they attempted to invade Earth, they would need to account for all of its inhabitants, especially the ones that looked cute and harmless. Those, Varlon had learned today, were the most dangerous of all. 3 Earth months earlier, the Strategic Command Center aboard the mothership Final Victory buzzed with activity. Holographic displays showed detailed maps of Earth's continents, military installations, and population centers. Admiral Varlon stood proudly before the assembled War Council, his ceremonial armor gleaming under the artificial lights. "Fellow commanders of the Galactic Armada," Varlon announced, gesturing grandly with his upper arms while his lower ones adjusted the holographic controls. "Our conquest of Earth will be remembered as the easiest victory in our history. Their primitive projectile weapons and basic energy shields are no match for our quantum phase technology." General Sova, head of ground operations, raised a tentacle in agreement. "Our research shows their most advanced military vehicle still runs on combustible fuel. My assault teams could disable their entire transportation network with a single electromagnetic pulse." Laughter rippled through the assembled alien leaders. Commander Threx, the head of intelligence operations, stepped forward to present his findings. His specialized optical sensors whirred as he projected new data onto the main display. "Observe their dwellings," Blick said, zooming in on a suburban neighborhood. "The humans waste enormous resources maintaining small patches of decorative grass and filling their homes with non-combat entities they call pets. Our psychological analysis suggests this indicates a soft species, too focused on comfort to mount an effective resistance." "Pets?" questioned Captain Vexa, her scales shifting color with curiosity. "What purpose do these creatures serve?" Blix brought up images of various Earth animals. "As far as we can determine, humans keep these beings purely for entertainment and emotional satisfaction. They serve no military function. In fact, they expend significant resources feeding and maintaining these creatures." "Ridiculous," barked Colonel Rune, his cybernetic eyes scanning the data. "Look at this one. They call it a pug. Its respiratory system is barely functional, and this goldfish they keep in tiny water containers, clearly not a threat to our advanced battleships." Admiral Varlon nodded sagely. "This matches our previous intelligence. The humans have grown soft through their technology. They no longer hunt their own food or fight their own battles. Instead, they rely on machines and pay others to handle their basic needs." The War Council gathered around a large tactical display showing their planned invasion routes. General Sova's tentacles danced across the controls, highlighting key targets. "We'll begin with simultaneous strikes here, here, and here," she indicated. "Our forces will establish beachheads in these suburban areas where resistance should be minimal. The humans appear to spend most of their time in these locations, watching entertainment broadcasts and sleeping. What about these small quadrupeds they keep?" "Dogs, I believe they're called," asked a junior officer from the back. Commander Threx dismissed the concern with a wave of his appendage. "Our sonic weapons will easily disorient any primitive Earth creature. Besides, most of these dogs spend their days chasing small plastic discs or begging for food scraps. They're barely worth noting in our tactical assessments." The assembled leaders nodded in agreement, already anticipating their easy victory. Captain Vexa pulled up footage of a cat sleeping in a sunbeam. "Look at this. Their companion animals spend up to 20 Earth hours per day in a dormant state. This will be easier than conquering the moss colonies of Proxima b. Admiral Varlin raised all four arms for attention. The invasion fleet stands ready. Our most conservative estimates suggest complete planetary control within 72 Earth hours. The humans' emotional attachment to these useless creatures will likely make them surrender even faster, rather than risk harm to their beloved pets. Perhaps we should keep some of these pets as specimens, suggested Colonel Roon, watching a hamster run in its wheel. They might make amusing additions to our victory museums. The meeting concluded with a round of congratulatory gestures and the sharing of fermented nutrient paste, a traditional pre-invasion celebration. None of the assembled military leaders noticed the small yellow canary in the human dwelling they were surveying through their speed drones. None of them recognized the intelligent gleam in its tiny eyes as it observed their surveillance equipment, or saw it fly off to what would soon become the first of many pet resistance headquarters. As the alien leaders finalized their invasion plans, calculating weapon yields and troop deployments, they remained blissfully unaware of the fatal flaw in their strategy. They had marked Earth's pets as a sign of weakness, never considering that humanity's greatest strength might lie not in its weapons or technology, but in the loyal companions they had befriended over thousands of years. Admiral Varlin made one final entry in the invasion log. Victory is assured. Earth's primitive defenses and domesticated creatures pose no threat to our superior forces. Those words would come back to haunt him sooner than he could possibly imagine. The invasion of Earth began on what humans called Saturday morning, a time chosen specifically because intelligence suggested most humans would be sleeping late. The first wave of drop pods pierced the dawn sky above Pleasant Valley suburbs, their stealth systems rendering them nearly invisible. Captain Yarn checked his combat suit's readings one final time as his pod touched down at the perfectly manicured lawn. Ground Force 1, deploy and secure the perimeter. Remember, minimal resistance expected in this sector. 20 heavily armed soldiers emerged from their pods, sophisticated weapons sweeping the quiet neighborhood. The only sound was the gentle tinkling of wind chimes, and was that a bell? "Sir," Specialist Lynx called out, "I'm detecting movement from that red dwelling, some sort of small quadruped approaching." Through the morning mist came a ginger cat wearing a collar with a jingling bell. It sat down directly in the invasion force's path and began grooming itself. "Ignore it," Terex ordered. "Advance to checkpoint 1. The cat looked up, blinked slowly, and let out a single meow. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Garage doors throughout the neighborhood began opening, revealing dozens of cats of all sizes and breeds. They emerged in perfect formation, led by a massive Norwegian forest cat that Terex would later swear was wearing a makeshift tactical vest made from a doll's jacket. "Sir, should we?" Specialist Lynx never finished her question. The cats attacked. The alien squad's advanced combat training proved useless against opponents who could squeeze through impossibly small gaps in their armor, who turned their own technology against them with precise swats, and who seemed to appear and disappear at will. "Fall back," Terex shouted, just as the second wave of resistance hit. A chorus of barks filled the air as dogs poured out of doggy doors and jumped over fences. A St. Bernard, leading a pack of mixed-breed tacticians, orchestrated a pincer movement that would have made military strategists weep with joy. "Our sonic weapons are ineffective," someone screamed. They're just howling along with them." A corgi somehow got into their command channel frequency. "Bark Squad Alpha, execute Operation Good Boy. Bark, bark." Terex watched in horror as his elite soldiers were methodically dismantled by Earth's pets. A Chihuahua had somehow hot-wired their transport vehicle. A team of Labradors was expertly disabling their communications equipment through the strategic application of slobber. Even the hamsters had joined the fray, rolling their exercise balls into carefully positioned formations to trip up retreating aliens. "Air support! We need immediate air support!" Terek screamed into his comm unit. The response came through garbled. Unable to provide air support, the birds have taken control of the airspace. Looking up, Terek saw what could only be described as an avian air force. Parrots were coordinating bombing runs using carefully stolen cat litter. Hummingbirds conducted high-speed reconnaissance, while pigeon formed blockades against their aerial reinforcements. A particularly smug-looking blue jay had somehow commandeered one of their scout drones. "This is impossible," Terek muttered, backing away from a group of approaching Siamese cats. "Our intelligence said they were just pets." A majestic German shepherd stepped forward, seeming to grin as it spoke in perfect Galactic standard. "Woof. Did you really think humans kept us around just to look cute?" Terek's jaw dropped. "You can speak our language." "Of course," replied the German shepherd. "We've been Earth's first line of defense for thousands of years. Humans didn't domesticate us. We formed an alliance with them. Did you really think those daily walks were just for exercise? We've been patrolling our territories, maintaining our training, and preparing for threats, exactly like you." A nearby golden retriever added, "Plus we get belly rubs and treats. It's a win-win situation, really." The final blow to Terek's squad came from above. A previously unnoticed Persian cat had positioned itself on a roof with a garden hose, demonstrating an understanding of fluid dynamics that suggested years of careful study in knocking things off high surfaces. "Captain Yarn to command," he transmitted, watching his soldiers retreat from an organized formation of rabbits. "Mission failure. Earth's defensive capabilities were significantly underestimated, requesting immediate evacuation." As his remaining forces scrambled back to their pods, pursued by triumphant pets, Terek could have sworn he saw a hamster giving military orders through an elaborate system of wheel-based Morse code. Their hasty retreat was accompanied by a chorus of barks, meows, and what sounded suspiciously like laughter from a particularly amused cockatoo. The last thing Terek heard as his pod lifted off was the German shepherd's voice. "And we didn't even have to wake up the humans. Same time next week for practice." Everyone aboard the research vessel Mind Seeker Lead. Analyst Lyra stared at the observation screens with growing frustration. Her specialized empathy sensors were giving impossible readings, and her research team was on the verge of a collective breakdown. "Play the footage again," she commanded, her third eye twitching, a sure sign of scientific distress. The screen displayed a human child reuniting with their dog after the latest failed invasion attempt. The sensors exploded with readings of joy, love, and loyalty that broke all known scales of emotional measurement. "This makes no sense," Lyra muttered, pacing the laboratory. "The bond between these species defies every natural law we've documented across 17 galaxies. These creatures aren't even genetically compatible." Her assistant, Research Officer Venn, brought up another recording. This one showed a cat defending its elderly human from an alien scout team. The cat, barely a tenth the size of one alien soldier, had fought with such ferocity that the entire squad retreated. "The neural scans are even more puzzling," Officer Venn reported, bringing up complex holographic data. When separated from their humans, These pets show activity in brain regions we didn't even know they possessed. And look at this. They communicate in ways our most advanced translation software can't decode. On the main screen, surveillance footage showed dogs in different households howling in sequence, passing messages across entire cities. Cats performed elaborate silent communications through a series of slow blinks and tail movements. Even the fish in their aquariums seemed to be coordinating their movements in patterns that suggested deep intelligence. Lieutenant Vessa's report just came in from the field, announced Senior Researcher Cole, looking pale. Her infiltration unit tried to understand the bond by offering superior food and comfort to some Earth pets. Not a single one defected. She notes here that a pampered Pomeranian called her, and I quote, a silly space noodle who wouldn't understand love if it bit her on the tentacles. The research team watched in stunned silence as their screens showed endless examples of the mysterious human-pet bond. A parrot that learned human speech, not just to mimic, but to comfort its owner during illness. A hamster that somehow engineered a complex tunnel system that precisely mirrored local defensive requirements. Cats that seemed to materialize whenever their humans felt sad, purring at frequencies that demonstrably improved emotional well-being. Send in the recording from Base Camp 7, Lyra ordered, dreading what they would see, but knowing they needed to understand. The footage showed an alien soldier attempting to approach a human dwelling. A senior researcher had theorized that the pets could be overcome with sufficient shows of force. The soldier, equipped with the most advanced battle armor in the galaxy, stepped forward confidently. The house's defender was a single teacup chihuahua. What followed would later be classified as too traumatic for junior officers to view. The chihuahua's sheer rage and determination, combined with what could only be described as tactical genius, sent the soldier running back to base. The soldier's final report consisted solely of the words, "Too small, too angry, never again." "We're receiving new field reports," Officer Venn announced, his professional composure cracking. "Our forces are experiencing widespread demoralization. 3 units have requested immediate transfer after encounters with what humans call puppies. They claim the creature's cuteness is a psychological weapon they weren't trained to resist." Lyra reviewed the mounting evidence. Every attempt to understand or counter the human-pet bond had failed spectacularly. Their best psychologists were baffled by the simple joy both species found in activities like fetch or laser pointer chase. Their military analysts couldn't comprehend how a species could be simultaneously deadly in defense, yet derive such pleasure from belly rubs. "There's more," Senior Researcher Cole added quietly, "the aquarium incident." Everyone in the lab shuddered. Nobody had expected the goldfish to be tactical geniuses. Nobody had predicted that betta fish would understand the precise weak points in alien technology. And absolutely nobody had been prepared for the discovery that guppies could coordinate mass movements with mathematical precision. A new alert flashed on the main screen. Somewhere in a place called Texas, a group of alien soldiers had encountered a military working dog and his human partner. The dog's loyalty readings were literally off the charts, and the resulting demonstration of protective capabilities had sent the entire alien squadron into therapy. "We have to report this to command," Lyra finally declared. "The human-pet bond isn't just an emotional connection. It's a fundamental force we never accounted for. These animals aren't serving humans out of domestication or dependency. They formed a true alliance based on something our science can't explain." As if to emphasize her point, The screen showed a new incident. A cat had just outsmarted their most advanced AI by batting important-looking buttons in precisely the right sequence, while appearing to be completely uninterested in doing so. Update from the Psychological Warfare Division, Officer Venn reported, his voice shaking. They tried to demoralize the pets by pointing out that humans sometimes don't share their food. The pets apparently found this hilarious. A Labrador retriever responded by saying, and I'm quoting directly, "Have you seen what they eat? We're doing them a favor by helping with portion control." Lyra made her final entry in the research log. Project Understanding terminated. Conclusion: Earth's pets represent a defense system based on unconditional love, unwavering loyalty, and a complexity of intelligence our species cannot comprehend. Additional finding: the term "good boy" appears to channel power in ways that defy our current understanding of physics. As the research team prepared their report, a small hamster in a nearby house added another note to its own detailed records of alien weaknesses. Day 47. They still haven't realized we've been gathering intelligence on them since they entered orbit. Advantages of being underestimated: infinite. Must remember to pretend the wheel is just for exercise. End log. P.S. Need more sunflower seeds. Operation Take Back Earth began at precisely 3:00 a.m., the time that cats had scientifically determined to be their peak chaos energy hour. The resistance started with what would later be known as the Great Caterwauling. From New York to Tokyo, from London to Sydney, every domestic cat simultaneously decided it was time for their evening concert. The alien invasion forces, already on edge from previous encounters, found their neural implants overwhelmed by the cacophony. "They're in the walls," screamed Commander Jex as his elite squad retreated from a suburban home in Seattle. "How are they always in the walls?" The cat's symphony served as a signal. Across the globe, dogs of all shapes and sizes launched into action. The alien forces had expected the large breeds to be dangerous. They'd prepared for German Shepherds and Rottweilers. They weren't prepared for the tactical Chihuahua squadron, led by the notorious Sergeant Pepper, a 3-pound terror with the heart of a lion and the attitude of 3 lions. Pull back, shouted Lieutenant Core as his squad fled from a coordinated assault by a pack of corgis. "Their legs are too short to track properly. Our targeting systems can't compensate." In Florida, the aquatic division made their move. Betta Fish had spent months practicing synchronized swimming patterns that, when viewed from above, spelled out "Surrender now" in perfect Galactic standard script. This psychological warfare was particularly effective, as none of the alien commanders could figure out how the fish had learned their written language. The Parakeet Air Force launched simultaneous strikes across all major cities. Years of shredding newspaper had prepared them perfectly for destroying alien documentation. Cockatoos, having spent years practicing how to open complex locks, made short work of the Invaders' security systems. "The hamsters have breached the mainframe," came a panicked transmission from the aliens' primary Earth-based computer center. "They're running in their wheels to generate power surges. Who taught them binary code?" In a suburban Dallas backyard, a squad of alien troops found themselves surrounded by what appeared to be an ordinary group of goldfish in a pond. Their commander raised his plasma rifle, only to freeze, as one of the goldfish executed a perfect backflip while maintaining direct eye contact. "That's right," bubbled the goldfish, somehow speaking perfect Galactic standard. "We've been practicing that move for years, waiting for this moment. Want to see what else we can do?" The aliens didn't stay to find out. Meanwhile, the underground resistance, led by an unlikely alliance of gerbils and rabbits, had completely undermined the aliens' ground-based operations, literally. Years of tunnel-digging expertise proved devastating to alien facility foundations. Base 6 is collapsing, crackled an emergency transmission. The rabbits coordinated with local groundhogs. I repeat, the rabbits have allied with the groundhogs in a particularly dramatic moment. A squad of alien commandos breaching a home in suburban London found themselves face to face with Sir Whiskerton, a distinguished Persian cat, whose human described him as basically a sentient cloud of fur and judgment. Sir Whiskerton looked up from grooming himself, fixed the aliens with a stare that somehow conveyed several generations of disapproval, and said simply, "No." The entire squad retreated, later filing reports that tried to explain how a single word from a cat had broken their will to fight. The Parrot intelligence network proved particularly devastating. Years of listening to human conversations had given them an encyclopedic knowledge of Wi-Fi passwords and social media accounts. Alien communications were in shambles as their channels were flooded with cat memes and dog videos, completely overwhelming their neural networks with weaponized cuteness. "They're posting our failures on something called Instagram," wailed Communications Officer Zix. "The one with the golden retriever has gone viral." In a desperate attempt to turn the tide, the alien command deployed their secret weapon, automated laser targeting systems. This proved to be their biggest mistake. "You fools transmitted a Siamese cat known only as the Professor. You think we've been chasing laser points for entertainment? We've been training." Well, what followed was a masterclass in laser-guided warfare as cats across the globe demonstrated their ability to predict and intercept even the most advanced targeting systems. Their years of practice with dollar store laser pointers had prepared them for exactly this moment. The final blow came from an unexpected quarter, a coalition of guinea pigs, having spent years perfecting their weak calls, launched a coordinated sonic attack that perfectly matched the resonant frequency of alien battle armor. As the alien forces fell into chaos, a transmission went out from what appeared to be an ordinary pet bed in suburban Ohio. The message, sent by an elderly tabby cat called Commander Paws, was simple. Phase 1 complete. Commence Operation Snuggle. That's when every pet on Earth simultaneously deployed their secret weapon, the same technique they'd been using to melt human hearts for millennia. The look. Thousands of pairs of big, pleading eyes turned toward the alien forces. Puppies tilted their heads at precisely calculated angles. Kittens mastered the art of being simultaneously adorable and terrifying. "Not the puppy eyes," screamed General Tharn as his forces fled from a squadron of beagle puppies. "Our species never developed resistance." By sunrise, the great pet uprising had achieved total victory. The alien forces were in full retreat, their military might completely undone by Earth's pets. Reports flooded in from across the globe. Defeat by cuteness in Sector 7. Tactical purring breach in Quadrant 4. They're all good dogs. I repeat, they're all good dogs. As the alien ships fled Earth's orbit, a final transmission was picked up, sent from a small tuxedo cat to the retreating armada. And we didn't even have to wake up the humans. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's time for my post-victory nap. Admiral Varlin stood before the Galactic Council, his ceremonial armor notably dented by what appeared to be tiny paw prints. The emergency session had been called to address the most spectacular military defeat in the history of space warfare. "Esteemed council members," Varlon began, his voice humbled. I come before you to officially announce our complete withdrawal from Earth and to present our findings about their unprecedented defensive capabilities. The council chamber screens displayed footage from the failed invasion. A Pomeranian chasing away a battalion, a Bengal cat reprogramming their most advanced AI by knocking precisely the right objects off a shelf, a parakeet conducting psychological warfare by repeating, "Who's a good alien? Not you," in 17 different languages. We severely underestimated Earth's defensive network, Varlin continued. What we dismissed as simple companion animals are, in fact, the most sophisticated multi-species alliance we've ever encountered. A council member raised a tentacle. Are you suggesting these pets are the true rulers of Earth? No, that's the most remarkable part, Varlin replied. They maintain this devastating military capability while genuinely enjoying their role as companions. Our xenopsychologists are still trying to understand how a species can be simultaneously capable of overthrowing our most advanced armies and excited about chasing a ball. The council watched in stunned silence as more footage played. A special forces unit retreating from a Labrador retriever who just wanted to play fetch with their plasma grenades. A squad of elite warriors surrendering to a kitten because it started making biscuits on their commander's lap. Furthermore, Varlin added, pulling up classified documents, we've discovered that Earth's pets have been conducting counter-surveillance on us for years. Those zoomies, they do advanced speed training, the dead cockroach pose, tactical deception, and don't even get me started on the birds. Those weren't just random droppings on our cloaked ships. Those were precision strikes. The council murmured in astonishment as Varlin presented his final recommendation. I hereby propose that Earth be classified as Do Not Invade under subsection K9 of the Galactic Code. Their pets are simply too powerful, too loyal, and far too cute for us to overcome. A brief note from Earth's Pet Intelligence Network appeared on screen. Wise choice. By the way, we've already translated this entire meeting. Sincerely, Mr. Snuggles, Field Marshal of Earth's Pet Defense Force. P.S. You still owe us 47 bags of treats for property damage, as the Council voted unanimously to approve Earth's new protected status. Varlin made one final entry in his war log note. For future generations, never underestimate a species that has convinced apex predators to be their snuggle buddies. End report. Back on Earth, as humans went about their daily lives, blissfully unaware of the averted invasion, their pets returned to their usual routines. Dogs resumed their sacred duty of protecting homes from the evil mailman. Cats went back to knocking things off shelves, now with the satisfaction of knowing they had perfected it into an art of war. Hamsters continued their covert operations, disguised as simple wheel-running exercises, and in a small pet bed in Anywhere Earth, a sleepy golden retriever sent out one final transmission to the Galactic Defense Network. Threat neutralized, resuming standard operations. Now, does anyone know where my human put the tennis ball? The most sophisticated planetary defense system in the galaxy settled in for a well-deserved nap, secure in the knowledge that they had protected their beloved humans once again. After all, that's what good boys and girls do.